Hi, everyone. It is time for the Speaker Insight training session, and it's a little bit different today. I'm Helena, and I'm part of the duo that is Kelly and Helena, and we are Speaker Insight, where we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a business on your terms. And you might notice that today Kelly isn't actually around. She's in the background. She's hiding away a little bit because part of the buzz in our business, and I'll get you to do yours in a moment, is that Kelly's got shingles. So we're keeping her behind the scenes at the moment, but she is here, and she'll probably say hello in a second whilst we are sharing this out into the Connection Hub, where the group that we've got that's for speakers, authors, and coaches to actively get engaged in the conversation. So I'm hoping that you are going to join me and join in, and I'm going to manage your comments and everything else. So I'm just going to press a button or two whilst you tell us what the buzz is in your business. So the buzz in your business is anything that's fun and exciting. So here it comes. You tell us. Brilliant. Oh, hang on a second. Right, hold on. Oh, the joys and delights of technology. So just bear with me for a second whilst I just change this over, because obviously it's not just when I bear with me for me just Kelly, can you tell me if that's any better for you? Or do I need to actively change it so that it works too? And for those of you who are joining me, tell us what the buzz is in your business. I can't actually see any of the comments coming in yet. What have you got that's exciting, intriguing, enticing for you? And we can go from there. Let me just, here we go. Yep, all good. Fantastic. Right. Okay, good. So let's get you unstuck. Much better. Oh, good. Thank you so much. We love a little bit of feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of a champion, so we can actively see that. So, right. So partly what's also been happening. So in the background, whilst Kelly has shingles, the other buzz in our business is really that she's been doing a series of interviews, filming experts to really create a TEDx program to support speakers to successfully find, apply, and deliver a talk. Like, what's not to love about that? You know, you are all people with great messages. And so we want to support you in every way, shape, and form that we can. So this is what part of what we're working on in the background. We've got quite a lot of things going on, which is a good thing. But we're also aware that, you know, partly in the times that we're in, and partly because, oh, hang on a second, let's have a look. Who's applying for a grant? I'm just waiting for that to come through. Oh, yes, Haley's applying for, Helen Packham is actually watching. And so part of what Kelly's actually working on is with Helen Packham. So that's really good. Let's have a look what all this is. So Haley's applying for a grant. We've got Andrea saying 1 month into a significant suicide intervention project for Greater Manchester. Feedback overwhelmingly positive. You are just doing such great work there, hun. You really are. It is just fantastic. So keep the buzz coming whilst I start talking about what's got you stuck. Because actually, one of the things that we observe a lot is that it's easy to get stuck, you know, with the times, with the weather, with whatever it is that kind of puts you into procrastination. There are a whole bunch of things that get us stuck. And when we feel stuck, we find it hard to make progress. And we don't want that for you because you are doing amazing things. So it's frustrating, it's debilitating, it can send you into a vicious spiral of just non-doing and worse, judgment, which I call the pit stop in hell. If you haven't heard me say that, then the pit stop in hell is optional, but it doesn't feel optional. When you get yourself stuck, when you come up against a brick wall, you can feel like the world stops, and then everything you're working on also starts to kind of grind to a halt. And that's really not what we want for you. So today's live is all around how you can get yourself unstuck. And if you've got ways that you get yourself unstuck, because we are not the authority on this whatsoever. I mean, I'm pretty damn good at getting people unstuck with my coaching hat on, but you know, we appreciate that everybody has ways of doing it. So part of this live is about you sharing what works for you as well. So first things first, though. So as I say, the pit stop in hell is optional, and I would call judgment the pit stop in hell. So I really want to go and get my jar right now, but there's only one of me, and I'm tied to the headset. I might go and get it just at the end. But knowing what gets you stuck is one of the quickest ways to either get out of it and start moving again, or better still, simple awareness is often curative. I'll say that again. Simple awareness is often curative. If you know what gets you stuck, you might be able to avoid it altogether. And what's not to love about that? So it's really important to always be taking steps, moving in the right direction, even if that is kind of baby step after baby step. So anything that leads you towards the goal or in the direction of the dreams that you've actually got is a really good thing. Now, one of there are kind of 4 or 5 areas that we see speakers, authors, and coaches as they come through our doors that they get stuck in a few areas or situations. So you might recognize these, and feel free to tell me again in the comments which one, because we have a tendency to, or a preference for one of these. So we tend to see these happen a lot. So the first one is not knowing where to start on a new project, or kind of not knowing what to do with your list and just feeling the overwhelm of that. And that then kind of makes you go, I don't even know where to begin. And so you sit and you do the laundry and you hang stuff up, and the house is immaculately clean for some reason. So that's definitely one of the situations that people tend to get stuck in. The other area that gets speakers, authors, and coaches stuck, we absolutely know this, is not understanding the tech. How do I put the things underneath everything so that the business can actually do this beautiful, automatic, magical working on autopilot that people say it can do? The tech sometimes gets people really stuck around that as well. Another one is definitely this, where imposter syndrome sort of creeps in, the not feeling very confident about getting visible, or indeed, and this is a big one for me, this is one I coach people through all the time, or not asking for the sales. So it's a twofold thing. It's this showing up and asking for what you actually want, whether it's the opportunity, whether it's the sale, or indeed just showing up might well be the thing that gets you stuck. So again, if you're feeling brave, please feel free to tell me in the comments. That would be really good. So let's have a look here. Oh, for some reason, I'm just going to refresh this because I can see comments on one side, but not on the other side. So let me just see how that one works. Here we go. Let me just because I want to be able to see what you're actively saying, I'm just going to have to do it on the other side. So we'll do it on the other side. So don't get me started on the tech. I wish I had a little bit of Kelly Tyler in me. Trust me, Kelly and we are both lovers of the tech, mainly because of what it does. And so this is one of the things that we're going to talk about. Oh yes, having to take a step back is absolutely, to get a view of the landscape, is absolutely one of the big things that you can do. Now, hang on a second. So my comments aren't updating, so I can't actually tell who's telling me what things on here. So I'm going to read out some of the comments on here, but I can't actually see who is saying them, which is kind of fun for me. So we'll just go from there. I'll just read them out, and you can be anonymous until I find out later. That's what I'm going to do with this. So Cindy Hearn apparently has The Sticky Book of Stuckness, is a great book on this subject. Thank you so much. Kelly, if you are watching, maybe go and grab the URL for that, because that sounds like it would be a really good thing to do. So and definitely having processes and plans in place can help you stop getting stuck, for absolute sure. And I'm definitely going to talk a little bit about that. So we absolutely, so the places you get stuck are not knowing where to start on a new project, not understanding the tech, not feeling confident about either getting visible or indeed asking for the sale, and indeed, just as you've just said, not having a clear plan or a strategy for the growth that you're actually wanting. Those are tend to be the 4 key areas that we find you as speakers, authors, and coaches get stuck. So the the way to get the quick fixes, if you like, the four antidotes that we've got for you are really that counter each and every one of them. Thanks, Kelly. That's brilliant. So the way to kind of get out of those is really to first and foremost get clarity and set direction. Whether it's a tiny thing that's got you stuck or whether it's the big picture that's got you stuck, actually stepping back, as someone just said, and getting some of that clarity, actually understanding what you are doing and setting the direction, and then sticking to it, and that's the key. Actually going, here is my green flag in the sand, for those of you who've heard me say about this before, really planting this and going, this is what I'm committed to, and this is what I'm going to stick through, so that you can actively work on it, is one way of doing it. The second thing is something that I think is ignored by a lot of people. It's actively, oh, there we go, beautiful. It's actively one of the things that you don't necessarily think about, but as I say it, you'll understand it. If you get really good, like really good at making decisions, you will get yourself unstuck so much more easily, and you will probably find that you may not get as stuck as you now do if you learn to make decisions quicker. And just making peace with the fact that mistakes are okay, and in fact mistakes are really encouraged. It actively allows you to play a bigger game. The faster you are at decision making, the easier it is to get unstuck or not be stuck at all. And and so, how many of you recognize yourself in this one? I am a recovering perfectionist. So learning, so I know this one well, right? But learning to actively make peace with your inner perfectionist, that whole forgiving yourself for not having it perfect, because, and here's what I'm really going to say about that: perfect for who, right? Because actually my level of perfection, your level of perfection might be very, very different. So I'm inviting you to really let that one go. But that one is a really good one to get yourself unstuck, to actually go, good or even great, not perfect, is good enough, because it allows you to move forward. And here's the great thing, and the thing that most people forget: you can go back and revise. You can go back and look at it with new eyes. I'm now being a poet. That's intriguing. But it really does come down to you actively knowing when enough is enough. So, and the last thing, and this is the one that we find that speakers, authors, and coaches don't tend to do. You tend to, and I'm blanketing you, putting you in a bucket all together. There is a tendency for a lot of speakers, authors, and coaches, because you're running your business on your own, and it can be a lonely thing, which is why I'm so glad that so many of you are actively here. Asking for help is something that you don't necessarily do. Whatever it is that kind of stops you from asking for help is actively just such a it debilitates you, because you need the help, and we need the perspectives of other people. We need to see things through other people's eyes, because your stuckness may well just come undone by somebody simply reframing something or giving you a little thought on something else. So Tim says, yeah, I agree, Tim. For some reason, I can see your name on StreamYard, so that's exciting. I'm quite pleased about that. But I think you're right. Facebook did update its interface recently, and several things are going a little bit. But some of you are saying create a pool of people. Oh, thanks, Kelly, for popping that in. That's great. I can see some of it, and I can't see others of it. So I'm just going to let that go. The perfectionist in me is just going to go, yep, that's fine. So this is live in action stuff. But creating a pool of people who can support each other. Perfection is just an illusion. Shattering it will set you free. Whoever you are so wise. I love that. And you'll see that Kelly's just popped in the how to ask for help. It's a live that we did a little while back. For those of you who do get yourself a little bit tense around, I don't want to show up as not knowing something, I highly recommend that you watch this, because it will give you some permission around asking that. There we go. Yes, Kelly, I think that is actually exactly what it is. That I'm only seeing some of your names. So I'm just going to keep on talking to you as if I know who you are, because you are all part of our beautiful crowd. Most of you probably belong to the Connection Hub as well. So, 4 things then: getting clarity and direction and then sticking to it, learning how to make decisions quicker, learning to make peace with that perfectionist in you and knowing what's good enough, knowing what can actually go out there, and asking for help. Those are some of the things that actively I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on. So, the approaches that you can take when you are really stuck, and the first bit of that is that whole piece around simple awareness is often curative. So really recognizing I am stuck. If you have done the laundry, if you've washed up all the dishes in your house, if you're sat there looking at your list, if you've put music on and it's still not doing the trick, if you're feeling disgruntled, irritable, frustrated, the chances are that you are stuck. So the first one of these that we're going to tackle is definitely lack of clarity, or this inability to plan in the creative ideas, because most stuckness actually comes from this place. It comes from not having a clear enough idea of the end result, or what the actual impact is of the effort that you're about to make. So not being able to do or know how to reverse engineer back from that end result is the other piece of that. So the first one is it's not clear enough what this effort will actually do. Or if it is clear enough, then it's the bit that actually is about reverse engineering it back so that you have a starting point and some milestones in between. So why does this happen? Well, you're a speaker, author, or coach, you or a blend of all three. We do like a blend. And you're a creative person. You have an impulsive idea. You run with it. You go ahead and you do it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And that's a blessing and a curse. So here's the thing. Here's what to do to really get the clarity that you're actually wanting. Number one, take the time out to really evaluate the idea. If it is, is it really a good one? You might have been excited in the moment, but you need to then actively just determine, does it actually work for me? I tend to leave it 24 hours now. And if I come back and I'm still excited about it and it still seems like it has legs, then it passes the test and we do a 4 intentions. Now, for those of you who are in our world, you'll know what the 4 intentions are. It's a really great way to just get clarity on the ideas and the thoughts that you have. If it then passes that test, because that really shows you how it might impact, what it might actually do for you and for the clients that you're intending it for, or the prospects that you might actually be making a lead magnet for. You can use it pretty much for anything, for any of the ideas that you have. So we highly recommend test. Does it really sort of seem to have legs 24 hours later? Then do a 4 intentions. Once you've actually done that and you go, yes, this is a go, you need to stop and actually work out the commercials and the capacity. So let me say a little bit about that, because I'm definitely the person that is going to make you look at, will it make you money? Will it be worth the effort? Will it make you money immediately? It might be, will it make you money in the long run? Or will it set up your business so that your lifestyle business piece of it can actually work for you? So again, this is where the 4 intentions come into their own. But really, when looking at, if you do this, what will get done and what won't get done, will it actually cost you to do it in the short term? And is that worth it? So we're asking you to really work with, commercially, what will it do for you? But also from a capacity perspective, do you have the time, the energy, the resources, the skills right here, right now to stop some of the things that you're doing? Because, we have to rob Peter to pay Paul for when we're doing something. So you need to make that determination of, is it worth it? And that's one of the real things that can help you get unstuck, because it might be a great idea, but it might not be a great idea to execute right now. It might be a great idea to put in what David Allen calls the someday maybe file, which you can then go and say, maybe that's a next quarter thing. It's a very good thing for the business, but it's not a right fit right now, because like Andrea was just saying, she's doing a whole bunch of this delivery for Greater Manchester. She probably has an idea that'll come in, but to execute it would then mean she'd need to stop doing that. And that's not possible with the commitments that are in there. So that's what I mean by this capacity piece that you need to actively look at. We, Kelly and I, in our Changemaker Central membership, we tell our changemakers to focus on one project, the one thing. I'm sure you've all or you've heard us talk about this book before, but we talk about focusing on the one project to make or produce. So listen to this very carefully, because it is highly important, and it's a great way to streamline running of your business and to keep in that flow and in that progress. So we tell them to focus on making one project per quarter. And so we call that producing. So with all that that entails, that might be a lead magnet, it might be as big as a course, but one project per quarter. And then also to identify and focus on the one project that has already been made, that is ready and available for purchase somewhere, that you are promoting. So what are you producing and what are you promoting out there in the world? And that is enough. Thanks, Kelly. Now, you cannot, and I will say this to you, you cannot and should not focus on only producing things, because you have to be promoting what you have. So these things run like parallel tracks. They are the rail tracks that run alongside. You can't run a train just on the one line. You have to have both, because that's where you stop your feast and famine. And a lot of speakers, authors, and coaches, especially in the world what we're in right now, can really do that roller coaster of feast and famine. And that can be one of the things that gets you stuck as well. So you then grab for all of the ideas. So that's the first one. So lack of clarity, or this inability to plan, can be helped by focusing on one thing, having established already that it is a good thing to work on, to produce, and one thing that you are promoting. That is bound to actively steady your train journey, so to speak. So that's the first one. The second piece that really gets people stuck, and that you can take a look at in the bigger, wider picture, is that the business model that you've got isn't working for you. It might have worked for you in the past, but it's no longer working for you, or indeed you may not have got it right yet for you. So, that might be something like your pricing is too low, you've got too many products and it's confusing, or you've not got enough clients. The business model is an indicator that you haven't got it quite right. I'm going to take a slurp of coffee because without Kelly, I'll forget that. Now, here's the thing. Cash flow in your business, and we are determined to really make you commercially aware. As a speaker, author, or coach, you get to make your impact. You get to influence out there on the back of the fact that you are running a bona fide business. So we want the business model to be working for you. So because cash flow is king, and because you need to make sure things are commercially viable, it's a vital thing for you to do. So underpricing and not understanding where the profit comes from in your business, or what to focus on to bring that in, is one of the key areas that we find that speakers, authors, and coaches get stuck in. It's the thing that puts them into that feast and famine, and it's the thing that keeps them working with, and hands up if you've seen this one, it's the thing that actively I don't know who's saying "Hey up, duck," but I really like it, by the way. Thank you so much. But it's the thing that actively keeps you working with the not ideal clients. That person that you've taken on that you go, I know they're not the right person, but it is a person in my business. And so you say yes when really you ought to say no. This type of thing happens a lot. And it also happens, so in the running of the business day to day, where you scrabble around a little bit, so you don't want to be stuck, but you then get stuck because of the choice of the clients. Or when you've made an active decision to literally to upscale in some way, that also can put you in a little bit of a blind spin. So those two types of stucknesses, here's how to get out of those. Number one, not saying yes to everything that comes at you straight away, but instead being really brave. And I know that for some of you, this is going to be a really brave step. Being brave and putting your prices up and planning to be present where your ideal clients are, is a great example of what you can do. Now, does that take a little bit of courage? Yes, of course it does. But will it absolutely enhance your experience of you working with people? Yes. Will it actively enhance the experience that the ideal clients who really need you and want you will have, and therefore it will boost your business? Yes, it will. So, does it take that? Oh, thank you so much, Elizabeth. That's really kind of you. Um, so the second piece to second way of getting out of this business model stuckness is really having, and I know I'm speaking this language, and I kind of like that I get to do this one on my own, because I can get a bit bossy about running the business, because running the business is the most important thing that you can do, second to the influencing. But the running of the business allows you to do the influencing. So the second piece here is having clear targets and really breaking down, once you've got the target, then breaking down the activity that's required to meet those targets. One of the things that Kelly and I do inside the membership is we really help people look at their targets and how they're going to achieve those targets and what they're going to need to focus on activity wise to help them reach those financial targets, but also other targets around their conversions. So, for example, because here's the thing, you can actively have fun with what you're doing, and doing that activity daily before doing the really productive and or the producing stuff that you've got, or the promotion stuff for those of you that like visibility. All of that stuff needs to happen, but you also need to do the running of the business. So here's the thing, and we talk about conversions all the time here. Let me give you an example. So, if you want, one of your metrics might well be, metrics is a wonderful word, by the way. What are your metrics? I'd love to know, actually. Pop them in the comments so I can see what are the things that you measure that allow you to know that your business is on track or growing. So, whilst I'm telling you this, let me know some of that. So let's say you want one new client per week, and you have a 50% conversion ratio from your discovery calls, sales calls, whatever it is that you're making them. If you're not good at making those, I'm going to make Kelly scrabble a bit here. If you're not good at making those, we did a really good live on what you can do with your discovery calls. So I'll send her off and look for those for you, because it is a really good one for those of you who don't know how to do that. So back to this. Let's say your target is wanting one new client per week, and you have a 50% conversion in your discovery calls, i.e., you have to have 2 calls in order to get one person in, then making sure that you have 4 discovery calls booked on a weekly basis, 8 discovery calls booked on a monthly basis, is a really good thing for you to do, because it's likely to guarantee that works. So that means you need to, back to the capacity that I was talking about, you might want to make space for 10 calls. Let's have a little bit of a buffer. You might be having an off day, who knows? Thank you, Kelly. So what might actually need to happen is somewhere in your time for the month, you need to put in your 45-minute calls, 30-minute calls, hour-long calls. I don't know how long your discovery calls are, but you want to be making space and time for those. So you begin to actively see that your business model is impacted by the metrics that you have. So remodeling your business may be the thing that gets you unstuck, because it might just be that you are at capacity because you can't move anywhere, because you're stuck in the business model as it currently has you. So here's one of the ways that you can do this. One other way to get unstuck from that. You need to take a step back, and you need to remodel to have more of what we call a portfolio business structure. This blend of speaking, writing, and coaching, and teaching on both an online and an offline structure, so that you actively have products that work for you in the background, that you have produced, that have taken time and effort to produce, but that now you only need to turn the tap on in terms of promoting, so they can be delivered without you. So those are your online courses. They might be programs that you've actively got that you're promoting on a regular basis, or it might be the launch that you do on a once in a while. It could be a hybrid that you actively do, but this is about stepping back and going, what set of income is coming from which of my products, and have I got a blend so that some of them can be delivered without me and therefore make money without me? The effort is in the upfront making of, but once you've actually got it made, it can be doing some work for you, like a little foot soldier somewhere out in the world. So I hope you understand that. We've actually got another so we did a training called creating a portfolio business. So for those of you who are thinking, that is actually my stuckness, the business model, how I've actually got things set up, the products that I'm actually using is what's creating the stuckness. If you've got some of that feast and famine stuff going on, this would be a really good one to look at. So far we've looked at lack of clarity or this inability to plan and done some things around that. We've then looked at the business model. The third place is, and this is the space that I love to talk into. Well, I like all of them actually, but this one is the one that I usually have to do a little bit of digging down into. Is this mindset stuckness that you can actually come across, or indeed heart set stuckness? Because sometimes it really just is our fear. Sometimes it really just is us getting in the way and creating stuckness because we're creating something in our minds, something in our hearts that just makes us go, I can't. And so you get yourself all procrastinating and stuck, and the house gets clean again, right? So hold on. So this area of stuckness is really where you let the idea of your own inadequacy or your own inexperience immobilize you. It's where you get yourself stuck. And it shows up in so many ways for different people of you. So again, feel free to tell me how that actively shows up for you. But we all do this. So let me reassure you, first and foremost, we all do this. I catch myself every now and then going, I can't do that. And then I have to talk myself out of it, right? And that's one of the things that you can actually do. Oh, nice one, Kelly. So she's just popped in one of the other trainings. Sorry, we're throwing a whole bunch of extra training at you just because we can. And we know that this is a seminal piece because so many people get stuck. So we want to give you ways to actually get unstuck that might help you a little bit more as well. So the thing is, when we do let our own inadequacies, the gremlins in our mind sort of talk to us, the trick to it is really recognizing that we're doing it and then doing something to move beyond it. It shows up in a variety of ways. It shows up in comparisonitis. That is a word. I've made it a word. That is a word. In comparisonitis, in imposter syndrome, I'm sure many of you have actually claimed that for yourself. It's like, oh, that person's so much better than me. And it can be inferiority thinking. Who am I to? That good old, is that really no? Oh, I should just hide. I should just hide here in the background. Or indeed, it can also, so sometimes the fear can show up as lack of clarity. So you need to watch out for that one. That one's a sneaky little one, but it's still a pit stop in hell. And the ostriching around tech, that can also be normally a cover for some kind of heart or mind stuckness that you've got. So here's what that might look like. So if you've just because this one, we have to give you some examples of what it looks like so that you can really own it, because it's only when you own it that you can do something about it. So saying stuff like, oh, I'll never be as good as them, or hiding away or wincing when you sort of see something, or when you watch that TED talk and you go, oh no, they did it so much better than I did, right? And making yourself small. Or there's no point because someone's already done that, so I'll have to come up with something original, or they've done it better than I ever could, or that sort of thing. That isn't very fun, or the behaviors around procrastinating might be the indicator for you. If your desk is very, very tidy all the time, or that clean laundry, these are signs that you are actually doing some kind of stuckness. And it might just be a sign that you are, if everything else is pointing to you have the space and the time to do it but you're still not doing anything, it might just be time to look inside, either inside your heart or inside your mind. But not knowing what to do next, even though there's a million things on your list, is a sure indicator. And that whole, back to what we were saying in the business model one, the saying yes before thinking about it, when something fun comes along. Some of you are a little bit, we call the connection hub for a reason. Most speakers, authors, and coaches want to share what they know. They love connection. They love the interactivity of people being together. And so when something fun comes along, even though you know you've got to do this thing, you're producing something, you're promoting something, but you go, yes, I'll have a virtual cup of coffee with you. That's usually a sign that you've got something going on that you need to tackle in some way. So, here are some ways to get over that kind of mindset or heart set stuckness. One, get a coach. Get a coach, or at least somebody, a peer level somebody, to talk you out of it, or indeed for you to talk at, so that you can talk yourself out of it, which actually is a more accurate description of the coaching scenario anyway, right? And again, feel free to share with us, what else, what you do around these things. Oh, bless you, Elizabeth. So guilty of the shiny syndrome. We all are, Oh, dangle me a piece of tech, and I can go. Oh yes, that's very important that I look at this, especially because I can justify it, because I can look at that on behalf of all of you. And that's a really good way of doing it. But no, that actively does mean that I need to, just slow down a little bit. So, number one, get a coach or talk to a peer and actively talk yourself into doing again, making progress again. Get some accountability, which is slightly different from having the conversation. There is nothing like taking action. And I think she wouldn't mind me saying this, but one of my coaches just last week, one of the people inside Changemaker Central, we had a jolly good discussion around how she was getting in her own way. And where we got to was this whole do it scared. So we acknowledge that the fear was there, and sometimes we just need to acknowledge that the fear is actively there. Oh, and yeah, Kelly's just put a great resource in. I'm just going to say this first. The course on self-hypnosis to help with your procrastination, absolutely brilliant. So Richard's done a really good job on this, and it's free. So for those of you who play around with that, definitely have a good look at that. But yes, the rabbit hole of research, TikTok, Facebook, and free challenges, yes, those are the things that you go, this must be useful for me. Yes, for sure, rather than focusing on that capacity and commercial thing that I talked about earlier. So this whole idea of getting a coach or getting some accountability and actively having somebody tell you that what you're doing really isn't going to serve you in the business, like the rabbit hole. Doing it, identifying what it is that's got you, may well be the thing that gets you unstuck. So when I talked to this particular person, we came up with the fact that she really acknowledged that she was just scared. So we came up with a phrase that actively works for her now, which is do it scared. Take the action anyway. What's the worst that can happen? And for those of you who've read Susan Jeffers' Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, you'll have the idea that actually does it. Excitement and fear, they're kind of flip sides of the same chemistry that happens in the body. So why don't we turn it into something? Now, for some of you, that's going to be about making the steps rather than making the steps this big, because that's going to really put the fear in you. Actually taking them down and just going, what's the baby step I can take here? What's the baby step I can take doing it scared might be the way to actively do it. So sometimes if you are prone to this, squeeze it down into the next one tangible thing that you can actively do. That's going to really help you. One of my favorite things, and this is a great thing for those of you who have one of these folders, please tell me. Oh, it's Kieran. Hi, Kieran. I try not to sign up for the free challenges for coaches on Facebook, as it would be an endless training and not enough working. Bang on. And so that's exactly it. It's like, how much distraction are you willing to allow yourself? That's a really great question, by the way. How much distraction are you willing to allow yourself? But yeah, so here's the thing. Using your evidence, how many of you here, and I'd love to know, how many of you here have a testimonials folder, an actual thing where you print out, yes, oh my God, print out, physically have the cuttings that you might have, the press articles that you might have, or the testimonials that have come through that you can look at on days when you are feeling a little bit inferior, where you can look at it and go, hang on a minute, I do good work. I do really good work. And you can big yourself up if you haven't got somebody to talk to. Having a testimonials folder, and I'm talking about one of those ones, that's got the plastic sleeves in that you can literally slot a piece of paper in and you can turn the pages. Having your favorite ones in there that actively say what you do and how you do it and the impact that that makes, that can be enough for you to go, hang on a minute, I need to continue doing what I'm doing because I do good work in the world. All of you repeat after me, even if it's an inside voice inside you. I do good work in the world. I'm here to do good work in the world because you are, and nobody is like you. So I'm going to say that. I'm going to get off that track right now, but you get where that's coming from. So use the evidence that you have to build up your confidence in yourself. And my final one around this, because we are also talking about, that leap when you're scaling, is to start hanging out with, that saying, we are the sum of the 5 people that we most hang around with. So when you're scaling, start to hang out with the people who've done it before, whatever it is, whether that is launching a product or going online or being more visible, or insert your own thing here that's got you a little bit scared or hesitant in some way. And then tell yourself that you are learning from this set of people. And I'm going to say this final thing. Your first is your worst. So just get yourself over that one. Somebody inside Changemaker literally just did first podcast, first kind of visibility piece, real visibility piece with a guest just last week. And she didn't die. She didn't die. And in fact, actually, it was really well received. Go figure, right? So you all know your stuff. And most of you are making up in your minds or in your hearts that you can't do it. So again, get some support for that. And remember, I know I say this fairly frequently, but I'm going to say it anyway. Do it 3 times. You have the joy and delight of Virgil Thompson, who was a travel writer. I know he was a travel writer, but I apply it to everything. He was a travel writer in the 1850s, and he said you should try travel / anything 3 times. Once to get over the fear of it. He was smart. Once to get over the fear of it. Twice to work out whether you like it. And the 3rd time to work out, once to get over the fear of it, twice to learn from it, and then the 3rd time to work out whether you like it. And then you can actually say, no, thank you, I don't want to do it. Or, that actually is kind of beginning to settle in me, and I do want to do more of that. So I really like that. Unstick me. I will unstick you. I will happily unstick you in all sorts of ways, especially when I figure out who you are. Which is really fun. That just gives me blanket to do everything here. So here's the thing. Most of us get stuck. No, all of us get stuck. You can put your hand up and say, there are times when you've been stuck. It's a human thing. So I will say this to you. One of my mentors always used to say this, and it sits at the front of my mind. How human of you. If you catch yourself in this level of stuckness, in the procrastination, in the hesitation, in some way, acknowledge it. Okay, I'm a little bit stuck, or I'm a lot stuck, and simply do something that actively pulls you out of it. Whether it's momentum, whether it's tech, whether it's scaling, whether it's mindset, it is just a bump in the road, and it's what you do with it that really matters. So, most stuckness, here's the real thing. Here's the key. Most stuckness has one thing that needs to happen. You build that decision-making muscle. I said it earlier on, but action trumps stuck. Action trumps stuckness, right? Taking action means that you are no longer stuck because you have done something. And an object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. Let's bring some physics into this as well, because why not? And the thing is, decision-making leads to action. So developing your decision-making muscles is one of the best things that you can do. So with your permission, in the last few minutes, it doesn't matter whether there's one of us or 2 of us, we're still always going to teach you for this length of time. But Practice making decisions every day. I'm going to give you a little recipe for how you might actually make those decisions better. So here's the thing: get fast at making decisions. Make decisions faster because you'll be more practiced at them. And most decisions, even the big ones, can be made in less than 30 minutes. I mean it. They can be made in less than 30 minutes. So hi, Charlotte. I love you too. And I will absolutely unstick you. Thank you. So here's the thing: get conscious and good at making decisions. So here's how. When you are making the decision, whether it's the shall I make this course now or next quarter? Shall I put my prices up? Shall I make a cup of tea? Shall I reach out to that collaboration partner and suggest we work together? You can see small and large all in there. You can ask yourself two simple questions when you're making any decision in business, in life. One, and this is so important, is it in alignment with my values? Is it aligned to what I know is important to me? And two, will this decision move me closer to my goals? So I'll say both of those again. One, is it in alignment with my values, with who I am? Still her. Yeah, very nice. And then the second one, so is it in alignment with my values, with who I am? And number two, will this decision move me closer to my goals? The alternative being, or will it move me further away? Sometimes you may need to do the full sentence so that you just have this idea of, okay, that's information I can use to make the decision. And then run it through. So Kelly and I talk about running a business on your terms. And most of you may not realize or might forget that on your terms is an active teaching methodology that we've got. So I'm just going to share that again because it's a really great way to run yourself through this decision-making process. We say decision-making is at the heart of your business, and so we want you to run it through your terms, the on your terms checklist. So on a scale of 1 to 5, you ask yourself these questions. Do I have, this is a pen and paper job, do I have the time to do this right now? Do I have the energy for it? Do I have the resources? Do I have the money? And do I have the skills? Now, not all of those may come into play, but it should give you a really good sense check, a values sense check, that will help you make a quick or quicker decision around this. Because speeding up your decision-making process really will be the thing that re-energizes you and begins to give you the momentum that you are seeking. So that's one set of it. So shall I run those through again? Did you get them? I'll do it again. So is this in alignment with my values? Will this decision bring me closer to my goals? And then run it through the terms checklist: time, energy, resources, money, and skills, to give you that sense check. And then you can get a little bit more active with it. Final bit for you. It's a really powerful exercise I do when people are feeling very stuck. It can really help you get unstuck, and you don't need anybody for it. You just need to actively sit down, pen and paper in hand, and or type, for those of you who are more technologically au fait and can't read your own writing anymore. But answering these simple questions is a great way to do it. So they're kind of call and response ones. So the first sentence around this, and I'll type them in and pop them in here once I've kind of hung up on you, so to speak. The first one of these is writing down, I'm stuck because, and then filling in your blank. You are so welcome, Jacqueline. I'm pleased that you are enjoying the top tips. Welcome, Helena the trainer. What are we to say, right? So, first one, I'm stuck because, insert the blank. The next line, my number one goal in my business is blank. So you fill that one in. So I'm stuck because, fill it in. My number one goal in my business is, and you fill that in. There's always going to be a number one goal. There might be many mini goals and targets in there, milestones in there, but you really will have a number one goal, usually for the year, or certainly next 6 months, etc. The third one, I want to reach my goal by, and this is where you put the date in, a specific date. So you might actually have a goal that lasts a year. You might actually have something that is, I will reach this goal by the 10th of October, 2021, for example. But getting specific about the date is a really important thing because it really focuses the mind and it starts us, for those of you who love a deadline, and again, we know speakers, authors, and coaches really, Tim, I'm glad. So he just said, ouch, it's me. So I'm stuck because my number one goal in the business is I want to reach my goal by specific date, because we know that deadlines, specifically for speakers, authors, and coaches, absolutely is the thing that makes us go, yes, I'm now going to work towards it, because you know that the deadline is looming. Some of us need that. And so just accept that about yourself, and begin to learn and dance around what that means for you. Then, here it comes. The decisions I need to make are fill in the blank. Oh, nice one, Kelly says. Kelly's just actually popped the on your terms diagram in, because it is a really useful way of actively working with the decisions. And so here it is. The decisions I need to make are, and here you can actively list a few of the decisions or all of the decisions. Do a little brainstorm on what are all the things I need to decide about. You will find that there aren't that many. There will probably be about 3, maybe 4 that you actively need to make a decision on, if not just one. And then the mentor or coach or help I need, who's going to move me forward powerfully, is fill in the blank. So, who or what do you need that actively will move you forward? So, are you good with those? Not okay. So if you haven't got any goals, then that's actually part of it. Decide to have a goal, right? So that may be part of the stuckness. That may be part of that result thing that I said at the very beginning of the training, is that when we have a clear idea of what we're going for, i.e. the goal that we're going for, it makes it so much easier to take action to do the activities that we're doing. So I'm stuck because my number one goal in the business is I want to reach my goal by insert specific date. The decisions I need to make are, and the mentor or coach or help I need who's going to move me forward powerfully is fill in the blank. Because here's the thing, really getting unstuck feels amazing. It feels so freeing. And yes, you can do this. You are big enough. You are brave enough. You are needed. We need you to shine your light. So get clear, get brave, and just take action, because action trumps stuck. So, on that note, I'm going to leave you to it. Thank you for staying with me for the whole time, and let us know what nuggets you actually took away from this, because we'd love to know. Have a great, wonderful, productive week.